Today we're going to talk about how to grade writing. And if you think creating writing is hard, grading writing and feeling good about those grades is even harder. So when I first started to grade writing, I would have done something like this. I would have collected a piece of writing that a student finished or was working on, make little marks on it, little pieces of feedback, and eventually give them some kind of a number grade on it. Today, however, I feel that writing is art. ELA stands for English Language Arts, and that writing is therefore an art form. It's not math, it's not right and wrong, it's not straightforward as math seems to be. It's alive, it's changing, it's evolving, and it can't be boiled down to numbers. And so I want to take you through a little bit of a journey that I went on in order to understand how to grade writing. So if you think about this piece of writing here, and you have to ask yourself, what did the student go through in order to come up with this piece of writing? And probably they went through some kind of writing process, maybe some planning and drafting, research, maybe organization and sharing and getting feedback, revising, polishing, collaborating with others, and maybe eventually publishing it in some way, either handing it in or putting it online or something like that. And so when I think about that whole entire writing process, I have to admit to myself that the 7 out of 10 does not capture the entire learning or writing process that the student went through. So here's a piece of writing that I've written, and I give it to my students, and I ask them to grade it on ask for a percentage grade. I do it every single year, and I always get numbers all over the board, and I write the numbers on the board that they tell me. And it's funny, right? Some students are giving me an F, and some of them are giving me an A plus. And so we realize that very quickly this little 100-point percentage scale is not a good accurate scale. So we try and boil it down to something a little more, usable, some kind of a 5-point scale. And I got this from Steve Peha. A is above and beyond. B is basically fine. C, I could have done better. D, I didn't try. F, I failed to try. So using a 5-point scale like this, you usually get a little more consistency in the grading, but we want to take it a step further. So let's take this piece of writing here where the students handed it in, and I try and use this 5-point scale. I still, even if I turn my number into a B, usually what I ended up doing when I was learning how to grade is I would just gather a few pieces of writing that the student had done, give them their little letter grades, and then I would average those grades together to come up with some sort of master letter grade. Even though I'm using a better scale than 100 points, I still wasn't capturing the whole writing process that I cared about over here on the left. And so I needed to figure out how to grade the entire writing process instead of 4 or 5 or 6 random assignments in order to capture what writing, the art form, is all about. So really what it boiled down to for me was I wanted to try and capture and grade the learning that happened and the writing that the person did, the whole process. And so what I needed to figure out how to do was evaluate the actual writer, not just the writing that they produced. And I am going to use this 5-point scale to help me, but it's just a little more involved than simply marking little writing assignments. I want to evaluate and grade the whole writer, the whole person as a writer. And that's what our next video is about. It's called The 3 Ps.